taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of My Way, Conversations with Entrepreneurs Doing Business Outside the Box. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and I'm super excited to be with you for another episode tonight. Listen, if you're joining us live, we have got an amazing show in store for you this evening. I would love for you to head over to the comment section, say hello. First of all, just don't just come in and sit there. Say hi. Let us know where you're joining from and share what you're excited about for the show tonight. I'm really excited because we have two sisters. I had, my pretty background that I usually use and everything else. And then I was like, oh God, I've never had three people on here and I didn't change it. So it's a new world tonight. Two sisters from the Last Puzzle Coaching teaching us that this world that we are born into is not the only option. I'm so excited to dig deep into the world of coaching with them and how, of course, they are doing things their way. So without further ado, let's welcome our guests to the show. Everybody, please welcome Casey DeMattis and Darlene DeMattis. Welcome.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you
for having us.
Absolutely. So excited to see you guys here tonight. Brittany's in the building. Hey, Brittany, happy Tuesday to you. Julissa is here today. How are you doing tonight, Julissa? Let us know that you're here. Say hello. I'm so excited to have you ladies here this evening because I was blown away by some of the things that you share about conscious creation. And just so you guys know, we are diving deep into the woo-woo swimming pool tonight. I hope everybody's got their bathing suits and ready to go because we're going to have some fun. So I would love for you to start out by sharing, Darlene, I'll let you go first, where you're joining us from this evening and when this kind of, you got into this kind of work, when the mindset of conscious creation came to your awareness.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm actually in Asheville, North Carolina. Lived here about 2 years. I love it. So I would say I've been, Casey and I both been studying this stuff for the last 20 years. And then a little over a year ago, we created a course. And it kind of just came through us. Pretty much all of our knowledge that we've accumulated over the past 20 years came out in this course. And it just ended up being this really beautiful masterpiece. And then it sat there for a while. And I almost feel like we were just like, whew, it came out, and then we didn't know what to do with it. And then I guess, a few months later passed, and we just kind of started creating a website and um, wanting to put it out in the world. And so that's what we've been doing.
I love
So we
it.
have our course, and then we also do coaching alongside the course to just clarify stuff and dig all the concepts in deeper.
Awesome. And then Casey, you're also in North Carolina as well, but a different part of North Carolina. Tell us where you're joining us from.
Yeah, I'm coming from the coast of North Carolina, Wilmington, and but I'll be joining my sister up in the mountains sometime in the next few months or so.
Yes, very exciting. Together at last. Together at last. I love it. So, did you guys, when Darlene mentioned that you guys have been doing this for about 20 years or so, I guess, or learning about conscious creation and all of that. But was there one of you that came to it before the other, or was it sort of a joint thing?
It's so wild because me and her, we often talk about how people have like these awakenings, and everybody wants to talk about when their awakening was. And we find it so interesting because for us, it was when we were directly out of high school. Like I just got out of high school and then boom, jumped in. So what happened was our parents moved. We were in New York and our parents left. And it was me, Darlene, and our brother living together. We were working full-time jobs. I was working 2 jobs. I'm a teenager. I'm like kind of dying. And I witnessed what I witnessed in our town and with everybody that I knew, like all the adults, nobody was happy. Nobody had realized a childhood dream. Everything was about just getting by, the struggle. And me and Darlene, we'd come home from work every night and we would talk about it. And we would just be like, there's just no way this is it. There is just no way this is what like our future has in store for us. So we decided, we're like, let's find what that other way is, because I guarantee you it's out there. Those like happy people on TV, like that reality exists somewhere. So it was really joint effort. It was around the same time we just started going to the library, reading up on whatever we could find, experiences, anybody who had an explanation for what this place was, just the gamut, really. And we started just sharing this information. We basically became just like addicted to it. And then, and then as the years passed, we started to practice it and started seeing wild things happen. And so it was really like almost identical to the same time that the two of us started picking up the work.
Yeah, I love that you guys came to it kind of together. That's so sweet and just really speaks to, how on the same page you guys are in the work that you do. And so I think that this concept of conscious creation is a challenging one for some people. I think even as I think about my own journey there, if you rewind maybe about 15-ish years ago, and you would have come to me and told me that I'm creating this stuff going on in my life, I would have told you to get the hell out. I would have been like, get away from me with that craziness, because I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for that. That's the first thing that I would go to in my mind. And even now I find myself when I'm talking about even if I'm just talking about my own experience of how I'm creating certain things in my life that may be portrayed as quote unquote negative, people are quick to jump in and be like, well, you didn't do that. You didn't make this in your life. And I wouldn't have asked for that kind of thing. And so I think it's hard for people to grasp. Was it something that was that challenging for either of you?
Yeah, for sure. And, something that has come to my attention, is the understanding and realizing that there's this infinite intelligence right here. And we live in a physical reality, and that's our physical being. But the much larger part of ourselves, the bigger perspective, is in the unseen. And this is guiding us and helping us along the way. And I think sometimes when big life events happen, maybe they were possibly already kind of in the script. And when these things occur, we can lean on this infinite intelligence that's right there. When you start noticing it and paying attention, things come in. You can tap right into it. I always say like how, technologies and things like that have always existed, like to build the airplane or the smartphone, right? It's always been there. Someone just tapped into
Right.
it. And this also can help us with things in our life, crises, when we feel stuck, when we're like, I'm in this relationship or this marriage, I don't know how to get out of. How do I do this? How do I deal with a loss? We can always tap into that and it will guide us. And something else is that when you can step away from the things that are going on in your life and you can tap into forgiveness and seeing the perfection of reality, of the unseen and the seen, and really connecting with that, life takes on a different view. And you start to see the purpose of it all. How has this served me? Right? Changing that perception. And as soon as you start to look at life that way, all of a sudden it comes in. You're like, oh my gosh, I can see how this was meant for the growth of me or my family, my ancestors, things like that.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about of it being sometimes it's easier for us, definitely on reflection, when something happens, to look back and go, oh, well, now I can see, what's going on. Casey, have you been able to, in your own life, in the midst of a challenge that you might be able to be experiencing now, to go, okay, like this is really hard, but I know that this is for a reason, or that this is for, that this is because of something?
Absolutely. I'm actually going through something very intense in my life right now. And it's pulling deep at some depths that are proving to be very challenging and hard. And the way I am approaching it is, okay, I'm experiencing this, but I know it's to propel me. Because you got to understand that if you want to be propelled, like let's say you're jumping on a trampoline, you've got to jump down for that trampoline to pop you up. And that is exactly how I receive hardships and challenges in my life. And it's also made it to the point where when something rough is occurring, you can understand it with that greater depth, as opposed to identifying with it, right? Like becoming it. You get frustrated and you can become the frustration, and you can let frustration live out your day. Or you can say, okay, I'm frustrated. There's a reason this frustration's happening, but you don't have to buy into it, right? Like we live in a physical world. We can't control the people around us, and things are going to happen, and we're going to have like tough experiences, and we're going to have bad times. But to receive those bad times with a greater understanding that it's okay. And if you receive it with the understanding that it will actually serve you, it can't help but serve you.
Mm.
And just one other point to that conscious creation. What we mean by conscious creation is opposed to unconscious creation.
Mm.
I heard this quote one time in a podcast I was listening to, and he said, the opposite of trauma is choice.
Mm.
And what he meant by that was trauma becomes a subconscious programming that we will respond to our life based on what that trauma created for us. So therefore, we are now becoming unconscious in what we're creating. So we're going to create the effects of that trauma time and time again in our life. But conscious creation is the awareness of what you went through with that trauma, understanding its purpose, but then deciding different. And and that's what we really mean by conscious creating. It's awareness. It's deciding for yourself. It's deciding to receive something challenging with the belief and the knowing that this will serve me.
I love that quote. The opposite of trauma is choice. We're constantly, literally, I think on every show on this network, we have talked about the power of choice and how it all comes down to that. So let me get this straight. We just choose to receive a thing differently, and then it all just goes away, right? Yes?
Not quite.
No? Oh, I thought if I just chose, that it would just go away. That's not how that works.
That's not how it works, because usually, right, things get tough. And it's because source energy, your consciousness, right? Your higher self is living through you, and it's ever wanting to expand, right? And expansion means bringing you to a higher place. And that usually means experiencing something different or, you know, moving past old beliefs. And that's always a challenge, right? But it takes challenge to have that growth. So you might decide like, okay, this is it. This is where I'm going. This is what I want. But now to get there usually means some undoing, some learning some new things, stretching into new territory out of your comfort zone. And, you know, that's where it can get tough. But if you lean into it, it's just magic on the other side. You'll get there. You will get there. And you'll be a much greater, stronger, you know, higher vibrational person in at the end of it.
Yeah.
And the truth is, Jessica, if you decided to say, I'm going to view this as positive, so it's going to turn out to be positive for me, right? Like, yes, actually, it is that simple. But the reason it doesn't actually work that simply is because you got to it. Honestly, feeling is the secret. And if you've got the conviction plus thought equals manifestation. So if you've got the conviction, yes, it will be that simple. But we are these complex human beings with baggage and past and emotions. And that's a beautiful thing that we should be honoring and experiencing to the fullest, because just because it sucks doesn't mean we can't actually embrace the experience of it. So yeah, the answer to your question is actually yes, but no, because we've got a little bit of undoing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very multifaceted, layered. Like this isn't, I think part of the, it's one of those things where, like you said, it is that simple, but there's other parts to it. And I think sort of the danger of what I've witnessed to myself when I first, you know, started dipping my toes into the very shallow end of the spiritual development, personal development swimming pool, that it was portrayed as all you have to do is this, and you're broken if you don't. You're broken if it doesn't fix like this, like that there's something wrong with you. If like instead of it being just like we're on this journey and it's something that we have to work on and choices that we have to make, it was coming across very like my mom was talking to me and I'm 6 years old and you're bad if you don't like. And I think that it's so dangerous. Like, how do you guys sort of approach that with your clients of, you know, they're creating these things in their lives that they don't necessarily want to experience consciously, and they're beating themselves up for it, because that's sort of, I guess, we are gluttons for punishment as humans, I think sometimes.
Jessica, I love that you brought that up, because this is something that I went through, and I'm sure Casey too. You know, you're on this journey, you're trying to do everything right, and you're doing your meditations and you're staying positive, right? And you're going after your manifestations. And then, you know, things don't go right. And you think, why am I being punished, or what am I doing wrong? You start beating yourself up. And it's a completely different perspective, right? When things aren't going the way we expect them to or want them to, that's when we need to embrace it the most. Like, it's showing us something. It's always showing us something. And it's not something that be like, oh, I screwed up, I must be doing this wrong. No, it could be direction. A lot of times direction. It's like, I'm trying this, you know, I'm trying to build my business maybe on this model, say, and it's not working. Or I'm trying to get this particular house, or my kid into this school, and it's just nothing's working, even though you've put in so much maybe mental effort. And it's usually just showing us direction of where we need to go, and not to hold so tightly onto what it is that we think it needs to look like. And I think that's where a lot of us get caught up in thinking that it has to look a specific way. And when we can let go of what we know, the feeling of what we want, right? We know we want that fulfillment of maybe a relationship or financial comfort, but we don't have to know how that's going to come and what exactly it's going to look like. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what I would say the most common thing I hear from my clients is, I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. And oftentimes it's entrepreneurs who actually come to us, which I think speaks to the spirit of what we're talking about. And what we try to do with them is get them to we'll prompt them with questions to get them to find whatever that belief inside. It's typically linked to some sort of fear that was born at between the ages of 5 and 7, like some childhood stuff. And it starts to just unravel. So if you're feeling unstuck, and I tell people you can't be unstuck because we live in an ever expanding, you're just creating the same thing over and over and over. It's not that you're unstuck, you're just continually creating in the same vein. So we start digging in a little thread by thread by thread, and suddenly they're like, oh my God, when I was dot 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 age, I was told dot dot dot, and I've internalized that, and now I believe that to be so. And then we help them remove that fear, and we help them remove that fear by reflecting back to them what we see in them, which is the all potential, all possibility. You can do this. You already have the tools. You already know. And that's really the benefit of us being there as their coach, because we can tease out these threads, show them themselves, and then they can feel comfortable in saying, okay, I'm going to take this next step. And like Darlene said, we often hold your hand because we're not given the full picture. So someone might say to me, I'm afraid to leave my job because, it pays the bills, but it's killing my soul. And like, I want to do this other thing. Right. And I tell them, your ego is telling you, your safe ego brain mind is telling you, it's showing you the full picture. If you stay here, you'll get this paycheck. The paycheck will show this amount. Your bills will get paid. There'll be food on the table. You can see the whole thing laid out before you. So it's safe. But when you take this higher path, the path of, the unknown, right? You're going to get step by step, higher self, intuition, whatever. It's going to come in and say, quit the job, right? And then it's going to say, take that phone call. And then it's going to say, go pick up that book. And it's going to lay out step by step. And if we can, and our job is to trust your path enough that you trust your path. And we walk it together, and we watch as the moments unfold. And that's really how we guide our clients through, scary change.
I love that. And I love that it's an individual process. And I think, I had seen myself, how individual a coaching program really needs to be, because we're all different people. We all process things in different way. We've all been through different things. We all see things differently. We all learn in different ways, and it really does need to be customized. Yet there's so many coaches out there that are still like, here's my cookie cutter program. You're going to be all better at the end of the 30 days. And that's just not how that works. But people are still buying into it. And it hurts my heart, because I'm like, it's not going to work for everybody. It needs to be customized to each individual. One of the things that I wanted to ask you guys is, if when people come to you for coaching, do you find that you are attracting people that come to you that are already open to this idea of conscious creation? And if not, like, what do you say to someone that comes to you and is like, look, I know I need to change my life, but I don't know if I believe this, buy into this, whatever. Like, what do you say to that person?
I'm gonna be honest, we've attracted mostly that.
Really?
Yeah. Something that we teach is energetic alignment. And that's something, of course, that we use in our own business, is to attract that which is people who are best suited. Like, don't try for it, attract for it. That's what's best suited for my coaching. I'm attracting who I can do the most for, right? I don't want just anybody. I don't want people who aren't going to get what I'm saying, who aren't going to resonate with the information. I don't want to just, promise stuff to you that I can't deliver. So we've been very lucky with that. I think that has to do with the way we present ourselves and whatnot, and online, and what I think you can see who we are and how we represent ourselves. And we have been getting very like-minded individuals when it comes to that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Casey, if someone came to you and said, I like you and I like what you're talking about, but I don't know if this is like a thing that can actually happen for me. I don't know how I feel about it. How would you sort of, is there anything you could say to them, or do they really need to be at the space where they're ready and open to hearing like that they can do it?
Yeah, well, I've had phone conversations with potential clients, and one of the things I'll tell them if they're feeling unsure is because here's the thing, Jessica, I'm not here to like prove to anybody that what we do is like real deal or it works, and like, and I'm totally cool if I'm not resonating with you. That's
Right.
cool with me. Um, and what I'll tell them, I'll say, look, let's get off the phone here and take a few days and consult your intuition. And if it feels true, if it feels right, call me back and, let's discuss. And if it doesn't, then that's okay too. Then it doesn't. Then it's not
Yeah.
for you for this time. I never try, and I know Darlene doesn't even, we're never like getting defensive. I'm never trying to prove my point. I'll never forget, because it was years ago. I used to, when I was first learning all this stuff, I would go to family events and things, and I'd be like, this and this and this, are you guys crazy? Like, the world is not what it seems. And then I read the Tao Te Ching, and the line, oh God, it just never left me. A master doesn't need to prove his point. And I was like, I'm done. I'm done proving my point. I'm done proving my point. And it brought me so much peace to be done proving my point. And I take that into business. And like Darlene said, we use energetic alignment. We really don't have those kind of phone calls, luckily, happen. We've been, when you learn energetic alignment, you're just merging. It's not, you're going with the flow. You're going the path of least resistance, and you really, I have the most beautiful client calls. I mean, like potential client calls, where I always hang up the phone and I'm like, people hate sales calls. You know that? Like, people hate them. And my calls are like, so, I always hang up. I'm like, that was so life-giving. Like, that was, I'll call Darlene. I'm like, I just had the most beautiful, and whether they book with us or not, like we have, it's like this energetic exchange between the two of us, where I'm giving, they're giving, I'm learning, they're learning. And if we decide to work together, more magic is born. And if not, I'm just like grateful for, wow, I just had a beautiful conversation. And so yeah, it's not about proving anything to anybody or trying to get anyone to see our point. So I think that answers it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful to see too, because you guys have clearly brought, this is not just like a practice for you. It's a way of life. And you brought that into your business. And it's something that even like I do, when I was learning the things in the beginning, I just saw it as a practice. And then I would find myself on calls like that in my business. And then if they said no, I'd feel like I have to convince them, and I feel like I have to explain myself. And then I'm like, what does that say about me, about what I believe, if I feel like I have to go down this rabbit hole of explanation? And now it's very different. I'm like the first whiff of this is, I'm not in the right place. I'm like, have a great day. Like, it's been real nice talking to you. Like, not a big deal at this point, because I don't want somebody to be there for a reason other than they can't be anywhere else but there. Like that's really, they want to be involved because their heart is telling, like their intuition, their whole being is telling them this is where they need to be. And I loved some of Casey's dropping all these quotes tonight. My paper's like filling up very quickly this evening. Listen, you guys, if you're watching, let us know if you have any questions. I know Angelique is joining us this evening. Mike Kufan is here over on Twitch. Good evening. Glad you're here tonight. Penny is here. Good to see you. Let us know if you guys have any questions for Casey and Darlene as we're sitting here in this conversation. We'd love to hear from you, or any thoughts about what they're sharing as well. Speaking of business, how can we like if we want to apply some of these concepts of conscious creation into our business, like do we have to tell people or can we just be and do?
Yeah, you can just be and do. Something that we do, and it's something that we didn't do at the start. We kind of went textbook and we went away from our practice and the way we live our entire life. And I actually went through like a 6-week depression.
Mm.
And then it dawned on me that I'm not following my heart. I'm just listening to what business coaches say to do, and all the cookie cutter stuff, really. And one morning I was just like, I'm done. I want to do things, my way. And it was amazing because I ended up getting all my inspiration back. But one of the things that we do is that we say, we get up every morning, we meet at 8 a.m. And it's like, what is my highest wanting me to do today? What can I do in my highest, right? Not necessarily what I'm supposed to do, but what is play for me today? What feels good? And I always start with that. And that's where we begin our day. And if we're both feeling really, or one of us is just really heavy, just going through it, takes a day. And you know what's amazing? So we used to push through that. And we'd have subpar work, right? Half the times when we push through that, be stuff we'd have to just redo again. We wouldn't even use that. It was literally just a waste of time. Now I'm like, I'm going to go for a hike. I'm going for a walk. I need to clear my mind. Brilliance comes in. I'm on my walk. I get the answer that I needed to, for some content or an ad or just the missing piece of whatever we're working on, like a new idea. And it's so amazing when you really listen to yourself. It's like we have all the answers, but we think we have to do things certain way. We've been taught so much that you got to try and work so hard. And it actually puts you steps further back because you're not doing your highest quality of work. And that is something that we now really live by because it's like you're just working for working's sake. You're not creating with your passion.
Right.
So that's been monumental for us, to be honest.
Yeah. What about you, Casey? How has this changed business for you?
Oh yeah. What we teach is how we run our business. But I will tell you this one thing, that we hired an $11,000 business coach who was supposedly like top notch. And the model was very similar to what you were discussing earlier, where it was one way.
Yep.
And it was that way for every single person. And it was work, do, reach out. It was like horrible. We literally could only do it for a couple of weeks and we were like, no, this is not for me. But one of the things, see, that business model has you just put it all out there and try as much, and then you'll get a couple of bites, right? So you'll make some money. What we do is solution-minded. So it happened this morning. There's a problem, right? Something's not working, right? Google, whatever, something's not working. We don't try and figure out the problem. And this is actually something that we teach our clients. Do not, if you're working to figure out the problem, you're getting in the way. You will be guided to the solution if you do not focus on the problem and you focus on the solution. We always say we said it this morning. Okay, we're receiving this issue. The solution's within it. And it was so funny how we found our solution, because I ended up like clicking on like some email I had saw, and it wasn't even something that would take me to the solution, and somehow it took us to the solution. And then her and I sat for 20 minutes discussing, like, we this is a thing we do, like, oh my God, it works. So her and I sit there for 20 minutes like, wasn't that so cool? Like, we're still awed by the fact that living this way, this much easier way, works. So being solution-minded as opposed to problem-minded, the solutions come in, and you're relaxed, and you've got to be relaxed to receive. We've learned that as well. If we're getting high strung, that's why we'll say to each other, like, she'll say, oh, Kim, your energy is feeling kind of tense. What's up? And I'll be like, I'm just not feeling it right now. I think I need, let's go stand in the sun for a couple minutes. I don't know. And she'll be like, go. and like we don't force ourselves to work. If work starts to feel like work, we know we're not living in the right space. So that's part of how we do it, and then we bring that to our clients, and I think that's a big part of the appeal, because we tell people, life can be easier, and it can be more fun and more relaxed, and you can have more money, and you can have more love, and if you just relax.
Yeah.
So it's just so beneficial in all scopes of your life. We take the way we run our business, the way we run our life, the way we work with clients. It's umbrella. It's the same.
That R word you said, relax. Can you give us the definition of that? Because I'm not sure I know what that word is.
It
I
doesn't mean
just,
it doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing things.
yeah, yeah.
Okay? It just means that within there's a sense of calm and peace about you.
Mm,
Because like Darlene will tell me, she's like, "Man, I've been working 12 hours today, but this is so inspired and it doesn't feel like work." But she's relaxed in that she's doing inspired action,
mm.
right? It's not stressful action. I got to get this done. I got to hit this deadline. I got to send this email. I gotta. It's like I get to.
I
I
get
get to
to,
write this
yeah.
email. Like I get to create this thing that's in here, and it's like pouring out now. And then what we get back from that, because if you bring that level of energy to your work is going to bring that level of energy back to you. So it's constantly reciprocated. And so we're constantly energized by our work, because our work is feeding us, like,
Right.
literally and figuratively.
Yeah, absolutely. Brittany says she can definitely relate. If I'm not in the right mind space, my work isn't the way I desire it to be. So I take a day or two, realign myself, and work always comes out better once I do. I think that stepping away is so important. And even like when I sit down to do tasks during the day, and when we're starting our business and we're doing everything ourselves and we're not like hiring out some of these mundane tasks that we absolutely love doing, um, it gets to be like it's challenging sometimes to work through that, and we want to just sit down and get it all done, and then we don't take breaks, and we work through lunch, and then we're up worrying about things instead of just allowing them to happen. But I started working a couple years ago in like Pomodoro sessions, so that I'll work a little bit, but then when the timer goes off, I take a break, because that's so important. And just even those little things, I think, have been so beneficial to me in my work, because I'm not forgetting myself in all of this, and that I need to like step away from the computer for a minute, or take a breath, or go for a walk, or just a change of scenery can make a lot of difference and stuff as well. So when you guys start working with someone, what is like the very first step to beginning to have them evaluate? Like, is that what they need to do, is like evaluate where they're at and envision where they want? Like, what's the very first thing someone needs to do to start changing, the course of their lives?
Yeah, I usually start out with figuring out what it is they want.
Hmm.
What do they feel is missing? And then we can start to see, okay, painting a picture of what this future looks like. And then we can begin to deconstruct from there where the underlying issues are. They're keeping that back.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you agree, Casey? Like just that envisioning?
Yeah, and we sort of it's definitely a lot of envisioning, and we sort of start backwards as well. So like we'll ask them what it is that they're after. The first thing on the phone when I talk to somebody is, what's going on that prompted you to start this journey? And then we have them start to tell us, well, what would your perfect life look like? Right? What is it that you really want? And we can start seeing where the kinks are that have kept them from what they want. And like I said, it's basically always some fear-based beliefs that they're holding on to, some experiences they had that have become the habituated response to everything that comes at them. Whether like even for me in my life, one of the things I had to realize was I was, 27 years old, and I would greet every person in my life as if I was 16 years old and they were my father. And like, it was one of the greatest realizations I ever had, was that I wasn't in the present, and I wasn't meeting you for you. It was coming out of my trauma. And a lot of people have that. It's a very common, it's a very common thing. So when we start to deconstruct these belief systems and help them input the belief systems that are going to help them, the changes, they can be really rapid at times, because something happens, like beginner's luck. Something happens when you've been holding on. It's like a volcano eruption, when you've been like bottled, and someone comes in and it's just like takes off the cap for you. And it's like we see like a really expansive like wild things start. They'll call us like, oh my god, like this happened and that happened, and oh my god, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, that's it, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's almost a better experience, like, for the client who is coming at us and who's just like not really done anything, has an idea of this stuff, but has no idea how to apply it, because it just sort of like explodes for them. But we have developed, a bunch of different practices and exercises for them. We, teaching conflict as a tool for creation. It's one of the greatest things one of the greatest weeks of our program. And meditation is a big part of our program too, because in that silence, the answers come. And so we just get them on a routine of practices and exercises that are really going to help them, and mindsets as well. It's a whole bunch of aspects that come together.
You partially answered my question, which was what are some of your favorite tools that you personally like to use in your own realm of conscious creation? Obviously, we know that every client that comes to you is going to be different, but I would love to know from each of you, what are some of your favorite tools to use?
I mean, for me, it really comes down, like, we have our tools and whatnot, which are powerful things that we can use in our toolkit. But really what it comes down to is asking those right questions so that my client figures it out on their own. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you need to have this realization, or that's a bad belief, or it's asking those right questions that facilitate aha moments within them. And that, I think, is really the most powerful tool any coach could have, to be honest.
I think it's so important, even outside of like a coaching relationship, asking yourself questions is so important. We're doing a series on Project Joy this week about focus, like finding your focus. And I've done work with people about scheduling and prioritizing and things like that. And the thing that I hear all the time from people is, I just can't focus. I'm just squirreled all the time. And that usually stems from not knowing what you want to really focus on, because you haven't asked yourself that question of, what should my focus be? What am I passionate about? What do I really want to focus on right now? And we're just like, I guess, assuming that we're just supposed to know without asking the question. So I think you're spot on, Darlene, about, asking those questions is so important with any of this to get started. Casey, you mentioned meditation. So I shared with you guys before we came on the show, I have 6 kids. So that whole concept of quiet time is not something I'm real familiar with. And so when I first got into learning about meditation for myself, I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. I haven't heard silence in 20 years, like really, truly. And so I think for me, like, I had to get out of that space of perfectionism when it came to meditation. Like, it doesn't have to be, you could hear a pin drop in order to meditate. I don't have to have like a perfect little meditation pillow in the corner with a statue of the Buddha and like all of this stuff over there. So is that true, or should I have been more perfectionist with that?
Not at all. And I come from a Kriya background, as a matter of fact, and the Kriya lineage is very specific, precise, twice a day, hour and a half, hold to do. But in reality, people with busy lives, which is most of us, I'll tell people who tell me, like, I've got 6 kids and I do not have the time nor the energy. And I say 3 to 5 minutes, like go sit in your car and say, like, leave mommy alone for 5 minutes. And it's so important that you do get that time in, because it might just be that it's a reset, right? You do a couple of breaths, you shut down for a second, you close your eyes, you retreat the conscious mind. And you're not looking to have no thoughts, right? You're not looking to, start levitating. I mean, it's simply shutting down and listening.
If you could levitate, though, like, that would be totally cool.
I heard Deepak Chopra can. But yeah, it's like it's listening. It is like you said, like the focus, like what do I focus on? Well, are you listening to yourself? You can go in with a question. It's amazing. You can ask your body parts questions. You can ask your soul questions. You can get in your car, close your eyes, set a timer for 5 minutes, ask a question, what do I need to see? And you will be amazed at what might come up minute 4.
Yeah.
And if you just breathe, relax, that's really all it takes. If you want to go for longer, go longer, or before you go to sleep, or before you get out of bed. That's the thing that I tell a lot of the clients to try. Don't watch TV necessarily and turn it off like at the moment of like passing out. Wait, give yourself 5 extra minutes, right? Turn it off 5 minutes prior, and then just get into a bit of a meditative state. Amazing things happen. You actually have beautiful dreams, and you wake up more refreshed, and you get the ideas, the things you need to focus on, the solutions to your problems, just whatever it is. So it doesn't have to be this, altar, mat, silence, incense, this, that, and the other. It really doesn't. It's about just closing your eyes, listening, and hearing, and non-judgment, because you might hear that you need to take a nap, and like that's okay too. You just non-judgment, curiosity, and that's going to take you a long way.
Yeah. I love when that particular message comes through of take a nap. I'm like, absolutely, whatever you say, I'm here for that.
Yeah, we ought to listen to our bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, listen, if any of you guys have ever said that to yourselves of, I don't have time to insert XYZ here, please come talk to me as well, because I have been living proof in my own life of that. We don't do things unless we want to. So if we are making up excuses of, I don't have time to meditate, I don't have time to exercise, I don't have time to whatever, because you don't want to. It's because you don't want to, period. And that's it. And it might not be a conscious thing that you don't want to. There might be subconscious things going on there. And that's when you need to go talk to Casey and Darlene about working out some of this stuff. But I will tell you, like, you really have to want to do it. Do you guys see that as being like a key thing in your line of work as well, that somebody really has to want to make these changes in order for them to make the changes?
100%. You have to be ready to invest in yourself. You have to be ready to ask those hard questions, and to be willing to see what comes, and be willing to then deal with it. And it does take a conscious commitment, like with meditation, and like, if you want to change your life, what are you going to do to change your life? For me, meditation's a big thing, right? Because I've gotten so much. You want that $1 million idea? Meditate for a little while and see what comes. But, for me, it's kind of like, how do I fit my life in around meditation, right? Not how do I fit in meditation, right? No, that's happening. If you really want something, you figure out how am I going to make that happen? I'm going to invest in this. And I think it's changing that perspective a bit, to put it to that higher level of importance, especially when it's your life. I mean, it's our life. We're not here forever. And, what are you going to do with it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would love for you guys, if you're watching whatever platform you're on, take a minute and show Casey and Darlene some love today. Click the like button, click the love button, click the share button, all of that good stuff so we can share this with everybody, because I think this has been a great start for people tonight to say, look, things are possible. And we didn't even get, you know, deep into the story and the things that you guys have been through in your own lives and how far you've come personally. You guys can go check out their website, which I shared below a little while ago, thelastpuzzlecoaching.com. And they have a lovely about page that shares some of their story. And I thought the words that you guys use there and the vulnerability in sharing what you guys have been through is so powerful, because I think that's such a huge part of what we share here on the Breakthrough Show Network, is that people don't want to be preached to. But when we share those stories of, look, this is what's possible in our lives, and I've been through it, and let me share with you what happened, I think that's such a powerful thing and really reaches people on a much better level. I want people to go visit thelastpuzzlecoaching.com and visit Casey and Darlene there. But would you guys like to share what people can find there? What are they getting themselves into when they go visit your website?
Okay, I'll take it. So pretty much on our main page, we kind of just go into some of the concepts like energetic alignment, heart intelligence. You scroll down to the bottom and you can book a free coaching call. We like to give one and really see how we do our process and, you know, what's your experience with it. And so you can make, you know, your own judgment on that. If this feels like something you want to continue with. And then up at the top, and that's where you do that. Up at the top, we have then programs. And that's where we also have our 8-week intensive course, which with the coaching, you get that as well, but you can take the course on its own. And that video, we go into a little bit about that and a little more detail. But
I love it.
It's really for those who are ready and willing to move beyond their past and into a new space and experience something new in their life. And like you said, you know, mine and Casey's past is so drastically different than where we are today. And it wasn't always that way. For a long time, we were just repeating those patterns and didn't know how to undo this stuff, undo the blocks. And that's really what we want most of all for everybody who takes our program, is to see true change, true growth, and move out of whatever it is that's been holding you back, whether, you know, could be trauma and experiences. I mean, a lot of us gone through some really dark stuff, but it doesn't have to define you, and you can move past it. You truly, truly can.
I love that. Casey, what do you hope, I know this is a big loaded question, but what do you hope to see for the world? Do you think that it's possible for us all to get into this beautiful space of creation where everything is just lovely and we're all seeing things, you know, from this beautiful perspective of creation? Do you think that that's possible for the world, or do you think it's just, you know, what do you hope to see? I'll just leave it at that.
I think that's a long way away. I think that's actually possible, but you know, we need drama, because otherwise it would get boring anyways. But I think when we realize, I think we're coming to realize in a more grander way that you know, with the planet and all of us, that we're actually one being. We're connected with the planet. We're connected to each other, and what I do to you affects me. And if we can all just start living with the intentions to be in service to each other and to ourselves in our highest, well, can you just imagine the ripple effect that would have? And I think that's what we love our work, because I feel like we help people set themselves on a path where they are now living their service. And when we live in service to one another, you have it all, because it's a give and a take in this world. And the more you give out, the more you get back. And when we understand that we all are we're affecting ourselves and each other with every decision we make, I do believe that level of consciousness is becoming more prevalent, and more people are talking about this. And the more that happens, there will eventually one day be a tipping point, won't there? There will, what is it? 51% maybe will be a tipping point, maybe less than that when we start living that way. And I think that we're headed that way. And I do believe that we can live in a really beautiful, giving community when we tap, because the soul and the intuitive self always wants the best for you and the best for me. And when you start doing what the heart suggests, you're always going to be in service to your highest. And so that can only ever do beautiful things. So the more of us that dig into this kind of work, yeah, the better our home life's going to be, our relationships with the people in our lives, the relationship with the people in our town, and onto the global community as well, because it can only ripple outward in a really beautiful way. And I do believe that's where we're headed.
Yeah, I think the last couple of years have been a huge wake up for people around the world. And see, some of us are just, again, with the self-punishment thing, like we need something gigantic to happen, like this
Mhm.
huge thing for us to wake up and get it. And, I think we're going to continue to even see that on a global level of these big things happening as a shakeup, because we're not getting this, we're not hearing that small little voice of like, hey, hi, you just need to change something. We just ignore that. We need like a explosion to go off for us to understand this. My last question that I've been asking everybody that comes on this show this season is, we have a lot of people watching that are brand new to starting their business and that feel kind of the tug to do things their way, but they're being told you have to do it this way. You have to follow this program. You can't do things that way. Like, what would be I'll ask each of you separately. We'll start with you, Darlene, of what you'd say to somebody if they say like, yeah, I feel it, but I can't do things, the way that I want, my way. What would be your advice to them?
Ignore everybody else and do it your way. There's certain skills and stuff that you need to know how to do and learn, and we all have to do that when we're building our business. But as far as number one, be authentic. Your authenticity is going to take you so far, and it's also, we're each these individual snowflakes. We each have this passion and this purpose to share with the world, and your individual passion and purpose is for you to do, and to do it your way. If you try to do it any other way, then you're not really being you, right? You're being somebody else. And I've noticed with clients, family, friends, myself, that when you do it your way, your unique self, that's what's going to take you the furthest. Because that's what you're here incarnated on this planet to do, is to be you and nobody else.
I love it. I love it. All right, Casey, what would you say?
Yeah, well, I totally agree with her. And then the last bit I would add is, you are inundated with, especially when you're starting a company, these steps. This is the way to do it. You're not getting this because da 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 da. I've done this. And if you're seeking out a solution from somebody who is playing off of fears, like telling you can't, you probably should run away from it. If it's feeling expansive to you, if you're, maybe you are drawn towards some program that could help you, a coach, let's say. If it feels expansive and like, yes, run for it for sure. But if it's because you're being told you can't do it without this person, then they don't have your highest interest in mind, and they're looking out for themselves. So I would, like she said, it really boils down to that authenticity. Be who you are, show up 100% as yourself, and do it your way. Do it your way, because the creative genius that can come out of that when you just allow it will blow your mind, and it will feel incredible. So that's basically what I would tell them.
So tell everybody else to be quiet, because Casey and Darlene says to be yourself. Do it your way anyway. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. It has been so much fun to sit down and talk with you. And I know that everybody typically we get like a ton of chatter, and everybody's just been so like into everything you guys are saying, which is so good. And so I would love to know, listen, if you guys are come on the replay, I would love for you to ask any questions, of course, and I will go back and check and pass on anything to Casey and Darlene as well. But definitely appreciate all of you that were here tonight. So many of you guys out there. Thank you so much. Do you guys have any final thoughts that you want to leave with our audience this evening?
I just want to say that I'm thankful that you invited us on here and we got to share, a little bit about what we do in our story, and just very grateful.
Absolutely.
Same, Jessica.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And to those watching, just remember that you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And if there's something you're doing that you don't want to do, I promise you there's a path out. So just be solution minded, and it's going to unfold for you. So like just keep going, you guys. All right? Life's an adventure.
I love it. I love it. Thank you both for being here tonight. It's been so much fun having you here. And of course, you're welcome back anytime. We would love to catch up with you guys eventually and hear more that you're creating. And can't wait to do that. So thank you again for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.
Absolutely. I am so thankful that all of you have been with us this evening. I'm so thankful that you have gotten the opportunity to hear from Casey and Darlene tonight. See, everybody's like, I've learned so much. We're all just there. They're all just taking it all in tonight. It's amazing. I want to remind you of a couple amazing things. Don't miss all of these incredible shows that we have on the Breakthrough Show Network. You can join our text community by texting the word breakthrough to 256-685-7092 in the US, Canada, and Puerto Rico. That's 256-685-7092. And I highly, highly, highly recommend that you join our Discord server. Just go to bit.ly/Discord breakthrough. bit.ly/Discord breakthrough. We have so much goodness going on over there. We've got some of those Pomodoro sessions I told you about. We have a great community. You can learn about supporting our network there. And it's just a really fun space to be for those of us that are really focused on improving our lives through personal and spiritual development. And it is not a one size fits all kind of place. It's be who you are. And we would love to have you there. I want to thank you all for watching or listening wherever you are in the world today. Thank you so much to Casey DeMattis and Darlene DeMattis for being here tonight. And I want to remind you to do things your way. And we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.